Hi everyone, and welcome to the Managerial Accounting course project. We are on week 5, and we're going to complete a cost of production report. So here's our scenario. It's June 1st, and the secret's out. Your catering has been such a hit that you finally opened a small bakery just around the corner. You no longer track costs by job, which is what we did last week. You've now switched to a process costing system, and you have 3 major processes: baking, decorating, and packaging. So you reviewed the cost of production report for the decorating department, and you're concerned because you don't know if the department is operating efficiently. Specifically, you notice that the production manager has omitted some of the data, so you're really going to fill it in. This is a lot of information, and the cost of production report does have a few steps in it. So if you need to refresh your memory, let's go ahead over to the textbook. And in chapter 17, you have that cost of production report. There are 4 steps. You're going to determine the units to be assigned, compute equivalent units of production, determine the cost per equivalent unit, and then allocate those costs to units transferred out and partially completed units. So we have 4 steps, but they're divided into 2 different sections. You'll notice that this talks about units, and steps 3 and 4 talk about costs. On the cost of production report, you're going to see those 2 sections, and I'll point them out in just a moment. All 4 of these steps are detailed in the next few pages. There's step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. If you like to see everything on one page, then you can see it here on Exhibit 8. You can see the cost of production report example. I'm going to go back to the workbook. I mentioned a few moments ago that there are 2 main sections. You have a unit section and a cost section, and you can see that right here. So we have our unit information and we have our cost information. If it were me, I would have my textbook open while I'm completing this cost of production report. There are 2 things that I want to point out to you that's not specific to the project, but specific to the cost of production report. And that is the inventory and process at the beginning of the month and the inventory and process at the end of the month. So the assumption is that direct materials are added immediately as the product has begun its, we've begun creating this product. So any direct materials for the beginning of the month would actually have been allocated to the month before. And so since this is May 1st, then all of those direct material costs would have been allocated in the April cost of production report. So I'm going to put a 0 here. Now I need to calculate the conversion costs. And this tells us that on May 1st, 40% of this batch was complete. That means I have to calculate the equivalent units for the other 60%. So I'm just going to multiply my whole units by 60%. And that tells me that I have 62 equivalent units for my conversion. Now, for my inventory and process at the end of the month, I'm 80% complete. I'm not going to calculate it based on the 20% because that's for June. I'm going to calculate this amount based on the 80%. So I'm going to do the same thing I did a few rows above. I'm going to take my 3,000 units and I'm going to multiply it by my 80%. Now, I mentioned up here that all direct materials are considered to be added as soon as the product has been started, right? So I'm going to pull that 3,000 units over into my direct materials. These are the 2 lines that if anyone's gonna get something wrong, it's normally in these 2 lines. So these are the 2 lines that typically create the most confusion. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If not, then thank you for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.